As I mentioned earlier, if you're just tuning in, I just had a luxury designation training out in Napa. And on day 2, we toured 2 properties. The first property, we're calling it the Napa Valley Vineyard Estate. The website is napavalleyvineyardestate.com. It's on the market for $18 million. The address is 2100 Old Soda Springs Road in Napa, California, listed with Sid Greer, Coldwell Banker. She was gracious enough to open up the property to literally, we had 2/3 of our class. We had 70 people attend the training. So literally we had about 45 people on this tour. It's on the market for $18 million. It's on 44 acres. The house is 11,000 square feet. Out of the 44 acres, 14 are vineyard. It's got a tennis court, amazing view, pool. We toured the home. Our class did. We talked about it. We have some follow-up coaching calls. So we're going to apply what I call my SWOT analysis. Hey, what are the best features of this home? If you were the agent, what would you accentuate? What would you downplay? And then we're going to get back to Sid with our report so we can help her get the property sold. But using this scenario, the owner paid around $8 million for it, and it's currently on for $18 million. So let's just keep it really simple for the listeners, Brett. Let's assume the seller gets full price, $18 million, and they paid $8 million. That's about $10 million in profit or gains. And so that $10 million it's based in California. As you mentioned, federal government takes 20%, state of California 13.3. So 33% of $10 million is $3.3 million in potential taxes, correct?
Exactly right. And then
All
the
right,
first thing to understand about the deferred sales trust is that it defers capital gains tax on primary homes. It's the Netflix because it does primary homes. It can do investment property. It can do businesses. It can do cryptocurrency. We're literally doing a $12 million cryptocurrency case right now where the gentleman bought it at $100,000. And they actually live in the Bay Area as well. And they're selling for $12 million. We're going to defer about $5.5, $6 million. They're going to defer all that tax and go buy an investment property to get cash flow and literally never have to work again. So the same thing is true for primary homes. Okay, so we did the Palo Alto one. We did the one in Aptos. The one in Aptos was a $7.9 million sale. She's in her 70s. She's made her wealth. Her basis is zero. It happens to be a rental, but she doesn't want a 1031 and take on new toilets, new trash, new liability. She sold, she deferred the tax, and she moved it into stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, liquid investments in the biggest companies in the world. So unlike a 1031 exchange where it has to be like-kind investment property, the deferred sales trust does not have to be like-kind. You have no time restrictions. You can put it into active or passive real estate deals. And the key thing for a lot of baby boomers, Michael, which is really, I think, a key stat for a lot of the listing agents listening to this episode, is according to the American Bankers Association, there's about $17 to $20 trillion that's going to pass from one generation to the next in the next 20 years. The same study found that these baby boomers, there's about 77 million in the U.S. alone, and every day about 10,000 are turning 65. And this is the largest wealth transfer in the history of the world that we know of is happening right now. So as listing agents, we have an opportunity, but more so a responsibility to help them sell these huge homes where their kids are gone. They want to relocate to their grandkids. They want to travel the world. They want to get passive income stream coming in so they can enjoy their wealth. But they literally feel locked into these homes, right? Because they go, oh my gosh, if I just sell this, all this money's just going to be, paid in tax and it's gone. I'm just going to sit it out and wait for what's called the stepped up basis, right? And pass it to my kids and they can step into it and walk away capital gains tax free. Hold on a second, though. Biden is considering taking away the stepped up basis, okay? So you can't even count on that anymore. Who knows? That's a part of the proposal, which is a big deal. He's also proposing to take away the 1031 exchange, which is oftentimes another thing the listing agents say. I can tell you what. How about you move out of the place and rent it for 2 years, and then let's do a 1031 exchange. The challenge with that is they're going, look, A, I don't want them necessarily move out. B, I don't need new headaches over there on another property. Like, I don't want to overpay for property. I don't want to deal with banks. I don't deal with tenants and rent control. Like, that doesn't solve my challenge. And so what they do, they let the tax tail wag not only the investment dog, but their entire life dog, right? And that's not great, right? So here's the deferred sales trust. Again, that's blockbuster way of doing things. The deferred sales trust, we sell, we defer the tax, doesn't affect the buyer in any way. Okay, we do it all in one escrow. The funds go to some of the largest banks in the world, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab. You approve an investment allocation. Okay. And then you start receiving payments and you pay tax slowly. And so what we're doing here, just in case people are wondering, we're doing an installment sale. Okay. It's known as IRC 453 is the tax code. This goes back 90 years. Okay. This particular deferred sales trust, it's proprietary the way we apply the IRC 453. But it's been doing it for 25 years, thousands of closes, billions under management. Okay, perfect track record with the IRS. But all we're asking the seller to do is, instead of selling directly to that cash buyer, and let's use the old Soda Springs deal, instead of selling for $18 million and taking what's called actual receipt and paying tax of about $3.3 million, we're going to ask that buyer and seller to cooperate with this newly formed trust. And we can make up a name. Let's call it Napa Valley Vineyard, DST Trust. Okay. That trust is going to be formed, and it's going to be, and the language is going to be put into escrow that the funds are going to go to the trust instead of going directly to the seller. Okay. And therefore it's in a deferral state at close of escrow. And then from there, from the trust, it's going to slowly pay back. Now the seller will pay tax as they receive it. But instead of paying, instead of having, let's say, say they had 8 million debt on it, let's say instead of having 10 million, or instead of having 7, they have about 10 million. They'll be able to live off of that interest and keep that deferred over a period of time. So I'll pause there, Michael, because I know you probably have some questions or thoughts.
You have just listened to another information-packed episode of Capital Gains Tax Solutions with Brett Swarts. We hope you enjoyed today's show and found it helpful. Visit capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to access the show notes and to access more resources. Don't forget to leave a review and join us again next time.